everyone. Welcome back into Primetime TV Show. I'm your host, Barbara Marville-Kelly, and with me is my co-host, Mr. Master Dennis Kelly. Hello.
Hello.
Hey, we've got another great show today.
Oh, well, they're all great.
I know, but this is greater than great.
That's good.
Do you know why? This time, just so you know, we did our launch for Heart Smart Kids and Heart Math, the Heart Math Experience, and it came up on my memory over the weekend. And I was going to re-air that, but I thought, no, we're going to come in live and unrehearsed in the studio like we always do and talk about what's been happening 1 year later after we introduced and did a sort of a soft launch on the lifestyle that we've been living for 23 years. So I'm excited to really talk about it once again. We're going to offer the Heart Math Experience. We're also going to be talking about our kids program that is about to snowball, not only on our platform here at We Being TV, but also in our neighborhood. We're actually going to be doing some wonderful things thanks to my husband's program and thanks to the choices that we made heartfully about joining the Heart Math team. And so we're going to be talking about that. But I just want to say hello again to my husband and say, aren't you happy to be here 1 year later?
I'm very happy.
And we survived the pandemic.
Isn't that the truth?
And other things.
That's
Unemployment, health issues, all kinds of different things that's going on out in the community. And we were just talking before the show how my husband went into Heart Math, really, was you were going through some tough times.
Right.
And I asked you, I said, would this phrase fit as a segue into opening up the Heart Math Experience? And I said, what were you going through? A phrase that we share that you came up with was, when the pain of suffering becomes worse than the pain of change, you change. And it has so much merit to it.
Absolutely. It has, when you look at the depth of that, it has a great feeling for every situation. Because when the pain gets too painful, you're either going to do one or two things. You're going to submit to it or you're going to correct it.
Mm-hmm.
And submitting to it is very difficult because that usually ends up with disease. Somebody doesn't live as long because they have too much stress. That's why change is good as long as the change is for the better.
You know, there's a lot to be said for that, because a lot of us, I mean, we've never been through a pandemic before. And thankfully, for the last 23 years, we have mastered these skill sets that have been proven through this last year. And I really do want to share this with you. If you are a growth-seeking individual, if you're going through some pain of your own, it's up to you to make the right choices. But how do we do that? I had to learn. I had to learn how to live a heart-centered and a heart-empowered lifestyle, and it has always rewarded me every single time, thanks to my husband going through his pain. And it was a lot of pain that you were going through, from changes in your lifestyle, just everything. And so somebody had introduced the Heart Math Institute.
This one friend of mine, realizing what I was going through, handed me a book and said, read this.
Which one was it?
Called Freeze Frame.
Aha!
That was Doc Childers' first successful book.
Yes.
Or one of his successful books. He has many. And she said, this will help you get out of this predicament. You'll be able to handle it a lot better. And of course I thought, well, how can I possibly handle this tragedy that's happened in my life from 4 or 5 different things almost at the same time? And she said, it will.
And it did.
And it did. It ended up being a big part of my philosophy. It ended up, I accomplished more since then than I had all the previous years prior to that.
And so when we met, became an item, one of the first things that you taught me was 5 minutes of an angry thought, depression, unforgiveness, things that can make a major impact in our lives. 5 minutes of a thought like that, where you can't get out of your own way and you just don't know what to do, you're scratching your head constantly. It dumps between, what did you say, 6 and 7 hours of cortisol. The worst chemical. It's like poison being dripping.
You're right. From 6 to 8 hours, you're in the negative, in a very low frequency level. Everything is a frequency. Everything. This chair is a frequency. If we could think of or correct, duplicate the frequency of this chart, it would just explode. But we don't have that knowledge yet as human beings. And it's sort of a little bit of quantum physics there, but there's a lot to that. But getting back to reality now, the thing that I got from the book more than anything is we are our own problem, and baby, we're the only one that can save it or correct it.
And go to the solution. You bet it.
Yeah, most people spend 90-95% on the problem, and the simple thing is spend it on the solution. Only 2 or 3% of the problem. That's just to make you sort of reiterate on what the problem is, and then go to work at correcting it. Human beings are phenomenal. They have a lot more power, a lot more strength, a lot more energy than they ever imagined. But some people feel more comfortable by not compliant to positive feelings or thinkings. And that's so sad. They want to prove everybody's wrong, or I should say right about them, that they're a loser, or that you're in a losing world, or, you know, that's the friends they hang around. But what you want to do, especially during the holidays, is hang around, or I hate the word hang around, but anyway. You
it's
know
okay.
I mean.
Hang out, hang around.
Hang around so that they can have a great Christmas or New Year's or any situation. Just take control of it. Be like the director of your movie.
You know, we talked about that last week, about being the director of your movie, and it is so true. When we're talking about being able to make decisions, that was one of the hardest things that I've ever had to do. I mean, I became a single mom, I had to make decisions for this and that, but it wasn't until HeartMath Institute and your training, going up into the mountains, not once, but twice, to become certified and bringing back all this wonderful information, and it's all backed by science, which gave me that training, so that now, I mean, for all of these years, we've lived a heart-centered life with a strong foundation of faith and prayer, and it all has come together and really did manage to pull us right through this pandemic with, I believe, flying colors. Because sometimes we have to go through things in order to come out of those things, get out of our own way, and be productive and just keep moving on, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's all right to look back, as long as you're using looking back to find out where you are.
Aha.
Most people live their life by yesterday. There's an old saying, see if I remember this. 2% of the people think, 3% of the people think they think, and the rest of it would rather die than think.
Why is that? Because they don't know how to think?
There's so many reasons you could say why that is, but first of all, they look at the negative, because we were born with more negative energy than positive, because of the nature's way of us surviving. If we didn't think negatively when we were young, in some sense, we would have never made it to our adulthood. So the negativity, but you add with this modern day life and lifestyle, you can't do that and be productive from your health and your personality-wise and helping the ones you love. So the key is realizing that we need to get out of that 77% of the people that are negative and dwell our frequency in with the few percentage points that are not negative. In other words, changing it into a positive.
And that takes time, right? It takes, 21 days to build a habit, which we've done.
That's right.
And I know many of you have been able to do that out there as well, and congratulations. It really is the catalyst to take us to the next level of success and that personal feeling that we've accomplished something in our own individual lives, so that we can help others and engage them in the same exact program. And what I'm excited about today, this is 1 year later, mind you. 1 year ago, it was March 9th, when we did this very same show, when we were launching the HeartMath experience. And that's what we have been living, maybe in a more detailed scale because of your certification, and then of course with our licenses that we carry now with HeartMath Institute. We're very proud of that. You had to go to the mountains for 1 week, 1 week solid.
No television, no phones, just training, studying, and realizing how wonderful this world can be if we just put our mind to it.
And just so you know, we had one of our Tai Chi instructors that came to me actually it was yesterday, calling me, and she asked us to work with family members because she attended a local seminar and there was someone there talking about heart math, and you know, timing is everything, and it is definitely heart time on the planet right here and right now. Anyone can do this. And the reason why I'm so excited about it, and I'll reshare what we did on our show a year ago, is in February, on February 14th, on Valentine's Day 2020, I decided to utilize my newly acquired license with Heart Math to coach the Heart Smart Adventure with my grandson. Now, mind you, he was 6 at the time, and it was before I ever knew that I would need to do homeschooling for 3.5 months. And let me tell you, the heart math skill sets kicked in big time. And it gave me an opportunity to teach my grandson, which is my driving force for everything I do in life. My entire family is my driving force. So we got out the iPad, and I thought, now, if this child will give me 5 minutes with this program, I will be a happy camper. He gave me more than 5 minutes. He was on the pad and seeing about how to manage your emotion in kid style. He'd look up at me, didn't say a word. He'd look back at the pad. Do you know that we lasted for 35 minutes on that? Little did I realize that when I became in a position to homeschool, when the pandemic, the schools shut down and all this, my daughter-in-law's a nurse practitioner, my son is working. I needed to do this, and I need to figure out how. So I reached into my toolbox of Heart Math Institute, and there they were. And so what I taught JD on Valentine's Day, it came back to me several months later when I was frustrated because I couldn't get online. And I even though I was actually exhibiting my skill sets, he was feeling my pain because of the frequency. And I thought I was doing okay. I was, well, JD, we'll get online. We'll get online. It'll be okay. You'll get your classes and learn and all of that. And he says to me, Mimi, you need to learn how to manage your emotions. Right out of the mouths of babes. Now, I thought I was doing pretty darn good, but because you can feel a person's frequency within 12 feet of them. And I want my husband to talk about this because you had to go to the mountains, and they did this testing with a boy and his dog. I'm going to let you share the story because it's really wonderful. This is how we can change things in this crazy planet, one heart at a time, because of the frequency and how we feel when we're around certain people, depending on how their frequency is. If it's low, you can feel that. If it's high vibration, you can feel that. If they're balanced in between, that's the perfect scenario, but of course perfection's only a direction. But let's talk about the boy and the dog. I love this story.
Well, what people have to realize to understand what the story, the meaning of the story, is actually use a physical device. And that can measure your electrical energy from your heart up to 12 feet away. And it goes way beyond that, but we don't have sophisticated enough machines to go much past that. What they did is when they had the boy and the dog in the room together, this was his dog. Oh, the name of the dog now. It was, I'm trying to remember the name of the dog. Anyway, it doesn't matter. They were in the room together, and they measured their heart rate variability, which means the heart was forming a beautiful pattern because they were with each other. They loved each other. The boy loved the dog loved the boy. When they were together, the heart rate was like a fine, beautiful flow. And when they took the dog away from the boy, they took the dog in one room, the boy in the other room, you could see their frequency like a seismograph in California for an earthquake. You could see the frequency. They have special machines that can measure that. And you could see them, it was very staticky, and it wasn't very productive because they wanted to be together, because they hadn't seen each other for about a week or so. They did that on purpose, so that the dog and the boy, they'd be able to measure their frequency level. A lot of people don't understand and even believe that we're a frequency. And every thought you have is a frequency. Good thoughts are bad frequency. I should say good thoughts are good frequency. Almost messed that one up, didn't I? And bad thoughts, like I say, are bad frequencies. Good, high frequencies, positive. Bad, low frequencies. And the frequency can go imaginary 1 to 10. 1, you weren't quite as, how would I say it, your frequency is positive, but it's at the low end of positive. It goes all the way up to 10 where it's euphoria, where you have a phenomenal frequency that helps people feel good when they're around you. And a lot of people don't understand the fact that, and they don't know, that the heart has 66 more of the biofrequencies than the brain. The heart has stronger vibration levels than the brain. You can measure the electrical energy of the heart from 12 feet to 14 feet away. And that really makes a big difference with people that utilize that frequency understanding. They can move mountains. They can do things that they never imagined that they could do just by having the power of the heart. The heart is the key to almost every one of our successes. The heart is in a positive frame of frequency or it's in a negative. And attitude is part of that frequency. You have good attitude, good frequency. People don't realize they have a control of every cell, every breath that they take. They have control if they desire to take advantage of it.
And it comes right down to choices.
Yeah.
Again, one of the hardest things to make are choices unless you really understand the skill sets with heart math and live from my one most favorite word, my favorite 4-letter word, which is love. And I know we get up on our soapbox shamelessly and talk about love, but there is a lot of science behind that and how you can transform your life just by living a love and heart-centered lifestyle. Now, how does that work? How does that work? Because love is the highest frequency?
Love is the highest frequency in the universe. Love has a frequency of 7.9 hertz, just as long as you're thinking on the positive end of it. And the heart has crystallite cells in it, just like in the brain. And when you put your attention in the heart with love, replacing a negative thought with a positive one, you can't change a negative thought. When you have a negative thought, you try to change it, it's hard. But replace it with a positive thought. That's the key. Just like if there's a dove on a fence post, if you want to change it into a hawk, you have to think that it's a hawk. If you just try to change the dove, saying I don't want the dove here anymore, I mean, it's not complicated, but it's hard to really control your mind if you're used to other people controlling it. And in most cases, there is somebody that is the director of your movie, and the key thing is not to be a character in the movie. You be the director of your own movie. In other words, don't always try to change to make other people happy. The law of allowing is let that person be the way they want to be. Don't let them affect the way you want to be. And that makes a big difference. We succumb to people in a positive way, trying to hope them restore their self to positive when they're negative. But it's something that's very difficult to do. If you give them advice and they don't use it, don't dwell on it, because that saps away your energy. And the key is to allow them to be the way they want to be, providing, and they sometimes want to have you be the way they want to be. So you don't play that game. You be a character in your movie and a director both. You can do both. Then you can maneuver to what you want your life to be like, when you want this to happen, setting goals, getting people to feel good about themselves when they walk away from you. In other words, when somebody is having a conversation with you, when they're really in depth and asking you several questions because they have some challenges, when they walk away from you, how do they feel? If that person walks away from you and feels good, that's the right direction to be able to get the most out of yourself and people.
I love when you say that, because you know, when we talk about positivity and coming from love and heart-centeredness, that may sound something really easy to do, but sometimes it's really not. I had a hard time trying to figure out, was I making choices when I first started this skill set? I couldn't figure out if I was making my decisions from my head or from my heart. Now it comes automatically. It just comes automatically. And I think that if you're like I am and you have a hard time making decisions, we're going to show you how you can transform that situation to where you make the right decision all the time. Why? Because it feels right, and it feels right from the heart. In fact, back when I was at Home Shopping Network as a show host, my husband came on. We both sold the freeze frame and the whole system along with your videotapes. And do you know that it all sold out in less than 5 minutes? This was over 14 years ago. Do you think that maybe people are even more ready for it now? It's great that we have so many life coaches, and my husband's my life coach, and he taught me so much about living a heart-centered lifestyle to where this is my most passionate mission is to get this into the hearts of many. We want to be able to use this platform, and if you'll help us share this platform, we can help those people that are out there standing in the checkout line with their mask on, and you can just tell where they're at. With dark circles under their eyes, their heads are hanging low, they don't know which way to turn, and with all of this unexpected stuff that we've all gone through with the pandemic. Don't get me wrong, we've had our moments. We lost income. We lost all of our Tai Chi classes where we were teaching at senior centers,
Yeah.
right? And the biggest blow was, sure, you lose that income, but the worst part was not being able to get in to continue to help our students feel better on a regular basis, help them focus better and concentrate and deliver good balancing techniques and all. And so, and you just don't, you see everybody just not knowing which way to turn, and with so many people losing their jobs, and then the election, well, I won't even go there. That was just all crazy, all the way around, no matter who you voted for. I mean, it is just crazy. So here we are. So what do we do? What do we do? We live from our heart on a daily basis. And when we do that on a daily basis, things just fall into place. The solutions come because you're in a higher frequency. I want my husband to actually do a little experiment with you on the show today. And if you could, before we go to the Heart Math Experience video, where you will be able to learn these skill sets in a drilled down version, and you'll actually be able to print out. These are my Heart Smart Adventures for Kids. I'm going to be talking about that, where you can help your kids, whether it's your own kids, grandkids, neighbors' kids, who cares? It will help. The Heart Math Experience, this is what we live every single day, and many times throughout the day we're doing this exercise. So let's walk everybody through the freeze frame, which is what we sold out on the Home Shopping Network. Getting yourself in a nice little quiet place, and I'm going to turn this over to you.
Well, thank you, my dear. Anyway, this is so simple to do, but most people would look at this in a negative way rather than a positive, because of the fact you can't see it, you can't touch it, you can't smell it. In other words, we're as human beings, we're raised with the fact that I want to think about how to put this. As human beings, when we start learning something that is physical, that can relate to our mental and emotional health, these are things that we need to dwell on. For example, the most three important words in the English language are thoughts are things. What you think about, you bring about. Now what I'm going to do is go over the 5 steps to freeze framing, and I want you to know that this takes practice like anything else, but the power that you generate as far as controlling your life, handling stress, is unbelievable. You reach a state of imperturbability, and this is not hard to understand, but it's hard for some people to take the time to do it. What you want to do is and this is to practice at first. Don't do it to major things. At first do it to minor things so that you can build up to where you can do it on the major things in life. Sit in an easy, comfortable chair and have the room very quiet, and you could even have some soft music on if you like. Get comfortable, have some loose clothing, and so you're not restricted in any way. And I want you to take and think of a stressful moment in your life at first. And how did you react to that stressful moment? Now we're going to switch it to developing a positive movement. All right? The first step is to clear your mind of anything, to get what I call the neutral. And once you do that, then what I want you to do is take, and it's like pushing a pause on a VCR or whatever. When you take that moment and you think about a time in your life that was very special, you go back in time, think of a time where when you think about it, it makes you really feel good. And that's the third step. The fourth step is try to see if it's working or not. And if it's not, then go back and review the 5 steps again. And this is very important because what happens is the heart then transfers beautiful feelings and thoughts to the brain. Then the brain starts developing chemicals in the body that are very positive. There are chemicals that are like serotonin, and there's others that I don't even have a name for, that come into your body when you're thinking positive, when you think of a time in your life that's very special. Go back the further you go back, the more powerful the movement. Then what happens is you've got 2 minutes to make that thought possible, another 2 minutes to make that part viable. And that will, like I mentioned, put all the good chemicals in your body, and the bad chemicals don't exist then. And it takes, like I say, practice. 2 minutes you got to change it from a negative to a positive. Have a whole array of different thoughts that you go to in times in your life that was very special, that were very rewarding to you, and they make you feel good when you think about it. When you get, after a period of time, you get to the point where you live that way. There is no one that can make your boat rock because of the fact that they're influencing you to be negative. You reach a state of what I call imperturbability, where nothing rocks your boat. So anyway, let's review that in a moment. You sit and relax, try to clear your mind, then think of a time in your life that was very special. Ask your heart, actually talk to your heart. Say, heart, tell me, was using your sincerity, peace of mind, and your strength, tell me what I can do about this situation. That's so important. Then the heart, through a thing called afferent neural pathway, will send a message to your brain. The brain then will put good hormones in the body, good chemicals. So whatever was making you negative, you can find a way to make it positive. It's your choice. And it has a lot more power than you could ever imagine, or my being able to convince you. The way that you would be able to do it would be much more geared to making you powerful if I'm the one that's referring to you. In other words, if I'm the one that is guiding you through this, you can take your power and you can change that into a very positive situation. So that gives you an idea of what the 5 steps are. Remember now, step 1, relax. Step 2, just like the pause button of a VCR. Step 3, the time in your life that is very special, go to that. And step 4, see if it's working or not. Step 5, enjoy the feeling, the moment, and try to keep that moment dear in your life, that you can do that anytime you want to get out of a negative into a positive. There you have a quick version of it.
And that was really good. I'm glad that you went through step by step so everyone can either write it down or work on remembering that. But and I was doing that the first round that you did. And of course the things that come to my mind, just for example, is my family. The birth of both of my boys, my grandson, marrying my husband, and our Yorkies. They always bring me love. And you can actually feel that transition on where that energy is and where it goes and flows. What I do is when I'm inhaling, I inhale love with a deep breath. Exhale gratitude. Because love and gratitude is the holy grail of getting us balanced, don't you think? When we feel, well, let me go back to the freeze frame. It's called the 1 minute stress management. And that's how we promoted it. And we actually did this exercise on the Home Shopping Network. Like I said earlier, we sold that out in less than 5 minutes. We had about 1,000 of them right on the spot. They were gone, gone. And I look back at that as another monumental moment in time for us. Because the other thing, we hear people saying, live in the moment, find a way to live in the moment. This is how you live, in the moment, in and of the moment. And when you learn to do that, things happen. The fireworks begin because you notice that you're transitioning into a more positive, for lack of another word, but a more feeling lifestyle. And then you end up feeling this on a regular basis. Now, you're wondering, well, how do you do that in business? You do the same thing. Everything we do our very best to come from love. It doesn't matter what's going on, who's screaming in your face, who's giving you rude signals when you cut somebody off by accident on US 19, right?
Right.
But when we come from love, rather than giving a rude finger back or whatever, you think, what's the best way to handle this? Maybe that person's going through some tough times that you don't know about. Maybe they've just lost a loved one. Or maybe they're trying to, it's a single mom trying to make ends meet and feed her kids, standing in the food stamp line. Been there, done that. So you see, we're no different than anybody else. And we had to push our way through and find the way, and we did. And so that's why we're here, and we're so true to this belief system, because it is backed by science. Peer-reviewed, I mean, you name it. You go to Heart Math Institute, you're going to find so much information that will help you and your family. And I think this is a perfect segue to go ahead and offer a complimentary program by Heart Math Institute that you can log in. All you have to do is, not even I can do it. It's not complicated. You click on the button, you put your name, your first name, your last name, your email, and bingo. You will get the Heart Math. I think it's about 8 or 9 modules. I have it here in my old-fashioned loose leaf binder. Everything's right here for me to have at my fingertips in case the grid goes down. And it has all the training and the explanation on why this is the way it is. And like my husband explains it so eloquently, that there is a brain in the heart.
That's right.
And the brain in the heart knows before the brain in the head. So we're going to go ahead and click on to that. Thank you, Rob. We can click into the Heart Math Institute by going to the Heart Math Experience. It's on both of our websites. If you go to dennis-kelly.com, you'll see here right on the front page, click onto that. It'll take you right there to a little video clip. And I'll let you go ahead and do that now, whenever you guys are ready. And then we're also going to come back and talk about the kids program as well. That's another couple minutes video, and it teaches you from a child's level so that you can get a feel for what that child is actually going to learn at a child. Actually, JD took the Heart Smarts, and he's ready for the adult version now. He really is. He's still learning a lot of words and all of that, but it just blows my mind that things are right there in front of us. It's almost like there's a bubble right in front of us, and if we just poke our nose through it, you have all of this knowledge. And I know the old cliche, knowledge is power. Knowledge really is power. And you always say, thoughts are things.
That's right. That's one.
And it all starts with a thought.
You can control, your thoughts are about the only thing you can completely control over anything else. Because without thoughts, there isn't any action. With action and visualization, you have accomplishment. And realizing and believing, it's your belief system that really makes the difference. Like a parachute isn't effective unless it's like a human being. A parachute doesn't function until it's open.
That's right.
And being open-minded is the key. It's like I could lead you to the water, but I can't make you drink. If you want to dehydrate, that's up to yourself. But this is like bringing everybody to the water, and the water is what we're talking about, is the symbolic part of the beautiful word called love.
I love love.
Love is a beautiful word, just like a beautiful thing. And the one thing that was a very premier moment of my life is when 10 years ago when I was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. Now, you would think with Parkinson's disease that I would be negative, that I would be negative about things that I do and things that I say, because look what the Lord did for me. He gave me this disease. Well, using heart math, it was completely turned around. It was like God, instead of why me, God, why not me? Because I went back in time, and all the things that I could do to help people now would be easier for me to have a platform where I can show you can do anything. And anything will make you to a point, or take you to a point where your loved ones will follow you if you keep this beautiful thing called love from the heart to your family. The best example you can give your family is good example. Be a good example.
I'm so glad that you said that, because we're going to go to the video, and then I'm going to share something based on that, all that positivity and everything that Jason said. We're going to go to the video right now.
Can you hear me? Can you feel me? This is a story about your life and about new ways to see that we are all connected.
Just like electricity changed the outer world, heart's going to change the inner world.
We can take charge of how we feel more than we may think.
It allows me to be present, centered, and focused.
I just find that deeper place in myself where I can feel that sense of love.
And as more people come together, it's going to draw in a whole new awareness.
But the heart really is an access point to our larger self that can bring in that intelligence of another dimension. So now we're starting to have a scientific understanding that these higher quality emotions that people have always associated with the heart really do affect the way the heart beats and the quality of the neural signals being sent to the brain, which it then interprets.
Heart and brain are in constant communication. The heart is doing most of the talking. Let's do an exercise now to get a better sense of how you're experiencing emotions that renew or drain you.
Okay, I'd like you to think of a specific situation that you feel has been difficult to solve these past few days.
In this experience, through learning simple techniques, seeing real-life examples, and hearing from experts and others, you will have the opportunity to experience your heart's intelligence and how it can help you, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. You'll see how you can connect with your heart in practical ways to reduce the stress of daily life, meet challenges with more ease, and become more of who you truly are.
You'll learn to listen to and follow the magnificent intuitive presence of your heart.
It's heart time on the planet.
So there you have it. You can feel free to go and check that out. Send it around to friends of yours, the Heart Math Experience. It's so simple. I've done that. I don't know how many people have actually tapped into it to see what it's all about, but it's pretty simple to understand. And just before we went to the video, we were talking about positivity. And so just, you know, in the last few weeks, my son, we were talking about positivity. That's my son, who has the baby, JD, and we were talking about positivity, and he says, you know, you and Kelly are so positive that if you were on the Titanic and it was sinking and the band was playing, you two would be saying, play one more song, one more dance. And I laughed, because just when you think your kids aren't listening, whether they're younger children or older, big adult children, they are. They really are. So we're firm believers in leading by example, and that's what we're trying to do as grandpa and grandma, great-grandpa, great-grandma, and all of that kind of stuff, because our children is our future. And my goodness, what is going on in this world if we cannot help one child at a time, doesn't matter what age they are, and never give up on humanity. And we don't, and we aren't. And we're here to help do whatever we can to give back. So there's no cost for that. That video clip to the HeartMath experience, I paid $29.95 for it because I wanted to see what was going out there to people. And I wanted to be in tune and the frequency with it as well. So I paid for it, but since then, the COVID happened, we get into a pandemic, and I get a notice from HeartMath that it's complimentary from HeartMath Institute. That's who they are. They are a not-for-profit organization. They've been around for many, many years, haven't they? You were fortunate enough to meet Doc Childer.
Yeah, I was one of the few people who got to meet him when I went to the mountains.
Exactly. And one of the gentlemen with the beard, there was a couple in there, but Howard Martin is actually going to be coming on our show on May 3rd, so mark your calendar. We're going to Zoom him in right from HeartMath Institute. Excuse me, if I could talk him into it, I'm going to see if I can't bring him back again the following week, because that's going to be really powerful. So hopefully that will help you in tapping into these skill sets that I would guarantee, if you do these skill sets, I will personally guarantee 100% performance on them. You can't fight science. It's the electricity in our body. It's the frequency, and you'll be able to understand it more, which it just gets into your system, and eventually you will not be making any decisions at all without consulting your heart. And it's just the way it is for us, and it works. While that the video was playing, my husband and I were saying, "What have we ever done without HeartMath? With all the challenges that we've had?" We go, I think we might have fell to the wayside. I think you're right.
Very easily.
I think you're right.
You didn't have it to fall back on.
No. Because, you know, when we're born, we're not born with how to succeed in life, how to deal with crazy personalities, how to deal with a pandemic, right? How do we do this thing called life? Well, we coined the acronym for life. Life empowered, life mastered. Love, inspire, forgive, and enlighten. And that was actually delivered to me in one of my state of minds of frequency in love. And I didn't even realize it until, you know, that 3 o'clock wake-up call. The Holy Spirit's there. Hello, I need to tell you something. And that's the honest to God's truth. It's just, I love what we do, and that's what we're here for you. And I hope you'll take a look at this. Just give me 5 minutes like my grandson did. 5 minutes, that's all. Because that 5 minutes, if you use that 5 minutes for being angry, not forgiving, being distressed over finances, you name it, it's all out there that you can pick your favorite 5 minutes to go down the bunny hole and develop stress that is noted to be the #1 cause for dis-ease and in many times premature death. So wouldn't it be nice to spend 5 minutes of love, 5 minutes of education on what happens to the human body when you're stressed, when you can't make decisions, when you don't know which end is up? How do you help your family? How do you help your friends, your neighbors? 5 minutes. Give me 5 minutes, and I want you to write me on Facebook. Get back with me. I want to know how this has worked for you. We'll take you to the next level. Well, speaking of the next level, how many years ago was it, my dear friend, confidant, husband, best friend? 24 years ago, we were laying around the pool in Spring Hill at your place. You were in the midst of writing your book, and I was getting these messages, and I think I just kind of went off on a little nap, and I said, we need to get to the kids. That was almost 24 years ago, and we have to some degree. But now we're playing full out. We have a kids program.
Well, you know, the thing that makes me feel the best of anything, not what we've accomplished, but all of our kids turned out to be great.
Yeah.
I have 4 of them, and you had 2 of them.
Yep.
Of them. It sounds a little cold, doesn't it? Anyway, if I left this earth today, tomorrow, I can say that I've lived many lives through my children, and they turn out to be really great, even though we had some little things that we had to correct in them, and we didn't correct it.
They corrected
We would
this.
leave, like for example, one thing I did, leaving our book, my book, your book, it's your book because that was part of me, leaving it out so he would look at it, and sure enough, he looked at it.
Yeah, yeah.
And that started his quest for positive feeling.
Well, and like I say, it's not one of those things that comes real easy. Maybe to some it will. Did it come easy to you when you went to get certified at HeartMath?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was easy. It was not difficult from the learning standpoint because it deals with the heart, and the heart has the power to make anything happen in a positive way.
And you were in personal growth and development anyway because of your karate tournaments, and I know for sure that the HeartMath experience and learning these skill sets really helped you win 6 world titles. And you didn't do that from an ego standpoint. It was to prove that this system works. If you're an athlete, it works. If you're a stay-at-home mom, well, a lot of stay-at-home moms and dads right now, boy, let me tell you, we really need this right now. But when it comes to the kids, and we were talking around your pool, saying we need to get to the kids, that's when I was starting to write the Dragon, health-oriented for kids and all of that. And the timing is now. I mean, they're even doing meditation in school. And I'm so glad to see that because we all, even children, need to have that in and of the moment, to meditate and to get into that HeartMath experience, feel the love so they can make better decisions and really combat in a loving way in turning things around. If it's going to be, it's up to me, right? If it's going to be, it's up to you. 5 minutes, that's all I ask for you to give to us in your time and see if it doesn't work for you. Guaranteed, 100%. Now, let's take a look at our video for the kids, and when we come back, we're going to wrap up with some PowerPoints and share what we can share with you. So we'll show you this kid's video. This is exactly the program that I used with my grandson. Took 5 minutes. That's all I asked of him. He went 35. Go figure. We'll be right back.
Welcome to HeartSmart's Adventure, a fun and engaging new social and emotional learning program for children ages 4 to 6. This interactive online program is packed with nuggets of knowledge about the heart, with heart-healthy practices around key areas like diet, exercise, and sleep. It also focuses on positive emotion and resilience-building skills that are crucial for fostering the well-being of children growing up in today's fast-paced, complex world. Dive inside the curriculum and you'll find 63 meaningful activities to help kids get smart about the heart. This program is sectioned into 6 adventures, brought to life by Prescott and Zoe, 2 wise and witty owls who help guide the way.
When your emotions go wild, don't get riled. Just breathe in and out through your heart.
Next up, you'll meet science teacher Kim Bent, along with some special guests who unveil some fascinating facts about the heart and how to keep it healthy. Following is a series of super fun, short activities for kids to anchor what they've learned. Through beautifully animated videos, children will be guided through several simple self-regulation techniques.
Now we're going to practice a simple breathing technique
to help them calm themselves and strengthen their expression of love and care. Then it's time to boogie. Catch the beat and tap your feet to 6 original songs. Then get creative in the art room. Now we get to head over to Kids Talk, where young students share interesting tidbits about the heart and share their own experiences with the practices.
When my brother was using my iPad, I wanted to use it and I got really mad. So I calmed myself down by using heart-focused breathing. And inside, when I'm feeling sad, I feel like nobody cares, but everybody cares about you.
Children can set their own pace and track their progress on the journey map. Rounding out the program is What Do You Know?, where kids get to demonstrate their newfound knowledge. Whether at school or at home, children will want to come back again and again to revisit their favorite activities. This is meant to be heart healthy with an abundance of heartfelt fun.
And there you have it. So you have a way for the adults to go to the Heart Math Experience. You'll be able to enroll in that, and you'll also be able to check out the kids program as well. I actually call them our kids are Heart Power Super Kids. Because they are. Now, you wanted to share something, because we didn't spend a whole lot of time on how my husband used these skill sets when he was winning all those championships. But tell me your vision.
Well, what I've always done was set goals. Everything I'd ever done and accomplished is through setting goals. And I had not competed in any, this is back in 1978. I had not competed in any major tournaments then. It was just small local tournaments. And my goal was to make the one in March, a year from where I was setting the goal, to be able to win the first place in Madison Square Garden with 20,000 people watching. That was my goal. And everybody laughed at me because I was talking about what goal I would be having in one of the biggest and most difficult tournaments to win. To make a long story short, I end up winning the first place, and I'll never forget, I'm standing in the ring, the same ring that Muhammad Ali fought in, and there's all these thousands, and I got the trophy, and the first thing that came out of my mouth, oh shit. Here I was, with the worst athlete in the history of Grafton High School. Here I was standing in the ring with thousands of people applauding, and I got that beautiful trophy in my hands. Thought to myself, if I can do this, anybody can do anything, because I was really tough at training. In other words, it was very difficult for me to train at first because I had this paradigm. But anyway, I'll turn it over back to my lovely wife here.
I didn't know you were going to blurt that out, but it's okay. Live television. We never know we do not script this out, just so you guys know. So you can expect just about anything here. We've laughed, we've cried on this show. What you see is what you get. We're real people just like you. We've gone through times, tough, up and down, and, challenging with the Parkinson's disease, and you're working through that and wanting to be that person that can help others to realize that, we don't make any claims to cure anybody, but gosh darn it, it's not a death sentence. And it's all in our perception and how we acknowledge things and what we can do with ourselves to make improvements at any age. Like I say, we weren't born with a manual on how to deal with life. Would it be nice if we did?
Yeah, sure would be, wouldn't it?
So I guess it's up to us to write the manual, which we have for us.
Actually, I could say that it's better to have to struggle to get to where you want to get, because you appreciate it more, and it shows that you have set goals that were high.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I thank everyone that has come into my life that I've had to forgive, because forgiveness is one of the best virtues if you can learn how to do that. And let me tell you, sometimes that's not easy to do. But you will find and see that you yourself that's sitting out there in our audience, you can transform your life if you make the choice to do so. If you feel like the pain of suffering is worse than the pain of change, you will change. You'll make the difference, because after all, aren't we here to lead by example with our families? And sometimes we have to learn the tough way so they see that mistakes are okay. But oh gosh, it's so hard. One of the hardest things I ever had to do was to show tough love. And that, I'll tell you, it works. When you walk your talk and you can come from love, it makes a big difference, doesn't it?
Sure does. It affects your body, mind, and spirit. You go through life as a struggle or through life as an exciting adventure. One thing, real quick, is don't ever use the word problem. Always, instead of saying problem when you got a problem, make it a challenge. I have a challenge. It makes a big difference, very big difference over a period of time.
And remember the story that my son said, it was just a few weeks ago or a month or whatever, and he said, you and Kelly are so positive that if you were on the Titanic and it was going down and the band was still playing, you'd be the ones to say, one more song, one more dance. Think about that.
She's right.
Yeah, he was very, very right about that. But life is really a wonderful thing, and we're here to share our lives with you, unrehearsed. It's all right out in the open, and how we live our lives, and it's pulled us through this last year. This is 1 year later. We have mastered these skills, believe me when I tell you, and you can too. So think about it. Go to the Heart Math Experience. Check out the Heart Smarts Adventures so that the whole family can learn. Do it yourself first as an adult. Check out the adult program. You're going to love it. I know you will. And we'll see you next time. And mark your calendar, because Howard Martin from Heart Math Institute is going to be here on Monday, May 3rd, a simply marvelous day for all. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you again next week.